You didn't click on this video by accident. The universe brought you here right on time. Hello Libra. Welcome back, or maybe, welcome home, to Zodiac Whisper Tarot, your sacred space for cosmic guidance and inner alignment. This isn't just another horoscope reading. This is a transmission. A message. A mirror. Something deep within you, perhaps quiet, perhaps unsettled, has been sensing a shift. And today, that shift is ready to speak. Right now, the cosmic stage is set in your favor. On May 26, 2025, the moon forms a powerful sextile with Venus, your ruling planet. This rare and gentle alignment carries the vibrations of emotional clarity, financial restoration, and soul-level healing. It's not loud. It doesn't force. But if you're still enough, it delivers. This moment is calling you not to hustle harder, but to return to your center, where real balance begins. And within this energetic window, 6 sacred numbers have begun rising in your field. These aren't random digits. They are codes from the cosmos, each one carrying a different frequency meant to restore your energy, open new doors, and invite abundance back into your life. These numbers are portals. And one of them, possibly more, has been circling your awareness lately. A number you've seen in dreams, license plates, receipts, timestamps. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Today, we'll decode each of these 6 numbers, not just from a mystical lens, but through the real ways they can influence your health, your money flow, your decisions, and your healing journey. This is your time, Libra. Not to please the world, but to listen to the rhythm of your own soul. You've been holding it together for so many people, in so many ways. But now, this is about you. Before we dive in, let me pause for something just as sacred as the message. Thank you. Truly. For being here. For every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription, you're not just supporting this channel. You're helping co-create it. Every bit of your energy makes Zodiac Whisper Tarot a space of alignment, truth, and healing. And from the bottom of my heart, I honor you for that. Now, trust me on this, you're going to want to stay until the very end. What the universe has in store for you today is nothing short of stunning. These messages aren't just predictions, they're reminders of what you already know deep down. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are on time. So let's open the channel. Let's listen to the whispers. And if a number rises in your heart as we go, don't ignore it. Claim it in the comments. Speak it aloud. I'm Libra, and I receive the healing and abundance of number ____. Because when you speak it, you shift the field. And when the field shifts, everything changes. Let's begin. Sometimes, the answers we've been seeking don't lie in the next breakthrough, the next decision, or the next opportunity. They wait in the quiet. The presence of number 7 in your field right now is not just a coincidence. It's a cosmic invitation to slow down, step back, and remember the wisdom that silence carries. For Libra, a sign wired for connection and attunement to others, this can feel unnatural at first. The idea of placing yourself at the center, of tending to your own soil instead of constantly reading the weather of someone else's sky. And yet, This is the very path back to clarity, balance, and sustainable wealth. In astrology, number 7 resonates deeply with Neptune and Pisces energy, two forces that govern the unseen, the intuitive, the compassionate, and the deeply imaginative. But when this energy lands in a Libra's chart, something sacred begins to stir, the need to create harmony not by pleasing others, but by knowing yourself. You may have spent years mastering the art of compromise, knowing how to soften your tone, read the room, or tip the scale just enough to keep everyone happy. But number 7 reminds you that sometimes, the truest peace comes not from balance between two sides, but from wholeness within. This is a moment to stop chasing answers and start listening for alignment. One of the simplest yet most profound teachings, echoed even in divine wisdom, is that when you go into the secret place of your own heart and listen with honesty, what you need will be added unto you. You don't need to strive for it. You need to make space for it. And making space often requires solitude, reflection, and stillness, things that, on the surface, look like doing nothing, but in reality, are some of the most transformative acts of trust you can make. Practically speaking, your health may be calling for a recalibration, not through rigid routines or intense discipline, but through the quiet reset that happens when you allow your nervous system to exhale. Wake up slowly. Sip warm water with lemon. Step outside and let sunlight touch your face without a screen between you and the sky. 10 minutes of stillness can shift your entire frequency. There is intelligence in your body that can only be accessed when the noise quiets down, and number 7 is here to gently guide you toward that space. When it comes to money, the number 7 carries a deeply liberating message. Your financial choices don't need to be ruled by anxiety, guilt, or performance. Not every dollar spent has to prove your generosity. Not every decision has to win someone's approval. This is the season to spend, save, and invest according to what aligns with your core values, not your people-pleasing patterns. Abundance isn't created through overspending or deprivation, but through intentionality. And the moment you stop using your resources to buy peace with others, you start creating real peace for yourself. This phase is not about pulling away from the world out of fear or isolation. It's about stepping inward with reverence, trusting that the quieter you become, the more clearly you'll hear the next right move. You're not lost, Libra, you're being led inward. And while that may look like stillness on the outside, it's actually a journey of deep movement on the inside. So if the number 7 continues to echo through your awareness this week, take it as a sign that your next breakthrough won't come from trying harder, it will come from listening deeper. It's not always obvious when a cycle has ended. Sometimes it doesn't close with fireworks or final words. Sometimes, it closes with a sigh, a quiet realization that you're no longer who you were when you began. That's the whisper behind number 21. It doesn't demand your attention with urgency. Instead, it gently encourages you to look around and notice that the scenery has changed. For Libra, a sign deeply attuned to rhythms, beauty, and the harmony between inner and outer worlds, number 21 arrives like a turning page. It marks the end of an old chapter, not because you failed, not because something was broken, but because the soul has completed a cycle of learning, and now it's ready for something greater. Astrologically, number 21 vibrates with a blend of solar power, the steady structure of Saturn, and the expansive blessing of Jupiter. This is a sacred triad, a mix of clarity, responsibility, and growth. When these planetary energies converge, we are often asked to reevaluate the scaffolding of our lives, what we've built, what we've outgrown, and what is longing to emerge. Libra, this is your invitation to take stock. Not in a critical way, but in a loving, reflective way. Are your values still aligned with how you live? Do your routines reflect your real priorities, or only the ones you've inherited, performed, or kept for peace? There's a passage that echoes through many spiritual traditions. When something ends, don't rush to fill the space. Let it breathe. Let it bless you. Completion is not emptiness, it's an opening. Just like the World card in Tarot, number 21 is not about finality, but about wholeness. It suggests that you're no longer spinning your wheels in a pattern. You've learned what you needed to learn. And now the question becomes, what kind of life do you want to live from this new level of awareness? In practical terms, this may be the perfect time to revisit how your time, money, and energy are being used. Look at your subscriptions, financial commitments, responsibilities, and ask yourself, does this still serve where I'm going, or only where I've been? This is not about cutting off everything in haste, but about curating your field with intention. The same goes for your body. Number 21 encourages you to honor your physical vessel by establishing rhythms that serve you. Sleep before midnight. Eat with presence. Begin your day with warmth, not rush. These are small acts of honoring a cycle, but their ripple effect is powerful. Then comes number 17, and with it, a shift from closure to hope. This is the moment when the night sky begins to reveal its stars again. After all that has been shed, released, or recalibrated, the soul needs something to lean into. And number 17, in its wisdom, offers a soft but steady light. The star. In both tarot and astrology, this number represents renewal not because something external has changed, but because something internal has healed enough to hope again. For Libra, this is the moment to look forward. Not with blind optimism, but with restored faith. A kind of hope that isn't naive, it's brave. It comes from having seen the darkness and choosing, anyway, to believe in the light. There is a quiet resilience in number 17. It doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't need external validation. It knows its worth, and it invites you to do the same. That invitation might come in the form of a surprising opportunity, an email, a call, an idea you almost dismissed. But you'll only see it if you're willing to believe that you deserve good things, not just because you've earned them, but because you're simply worthy. In terms of health, you may be carrying energy that isn't yours, empathic overload, unspoken emotion, accumulated stress. Give your body a reset. Clear your space. Take salt baths. Hold grounding stones. Go barefoot on the earth. The healing isn't just emotional, it's physical, too. You don't have to explain the tiredness. You just have to tend to it, gently. And if you're wondering whether abundance will ever return, number 17 says yes. But only if you can welcome it with the heart that's no longer bracing for the worst. Sometimes, what we need most is not a new plan, but a new perspective. The guidance of these two numbers, 21 and 17, is not just directional. It's deeply personal. You are not being asked to fix everything. You are being asked to see that something already is. You are not lost. You're arriving. And the moment you recognize that, everything begins to shift. When we think of creativity, we often imagine chaos, flashes of inspiration, bursts of emotion, late nights chasing ideas that don't always land. And when we think of responsibility, we picture order, routines, plans, spreadsheets, deadlines. But number 32 arrives in your energy field as a gentle reminder that these two forces were never meant to exist in opposition. In fact, when they work together, they produce something far more powerful than either can alone: sustainable expansion. For Libra, a sign wired for balance, this number holds a special kind of wisdom. It whispers, you don't have to choose between beauty and structure. You can build a life where both belong. The vibration of 3 is expressive, alive, imaginative. It urges you to share your voice, your art, your ideas, not because they're perfect, but because they're real. Meanwhile, the energy of 2 brings you back to center. It asks you to listen, to feel, to partner with what's steady and true. When combined into 32, this becomes a call to action that is both inspired and grounded. It says, your joy has a place in your plans, and your plans deserve the color of your joy. If you've been torn between following your passion or fulfilling your obligations, number 32 is here to show you that you can do both, not by overloading yourself, but by aligning what you love with what you need. There is sacredness in choosing a life that reflects your creative spirit without sacrificing your stability. And there is freedom in realizing that discipline doesn't have to suffocate creativity, it can support it. From a practical lens, this number may be nudging you to rediscover a gift you once put down. Maybe it's a talent that felt too impractical. Maybe it's a dream you outgrew to meet someone else's expectations. Whatever it is, 32 is an invitation to pick it up again, this time with a new sense of purpose and permission. You don't have to quit your job or abandon your routines. You only need to make space for the part of you that still longs to create, express, and build from the heart. Health-wise, your body may be holding on to ideas and emotions that were never given the chance to come out. Expression isn't just about art, it's about release. Movement, journaling, singing softly to yourself in the kitchen, sketching without needing it to become anything, these are all ways your system clears emotional clutter. When you move your energy moves you. And that movement can restore parts of your well-being that no pill or regimen ever could. Financially, number 32 encourages a deeper look at the resources you already have, not just in your bank account, but within your skill set. Is there a service, a product, a creative offering that's been sitting dormant, waiting for your belief in it to rise again? Your abundance may not come from a radical career change, but from reconnecting the dots between your creativity and your competence. The universe isn't asking you to leap blindly. It's asking you to blend what makes you feel alive with what keeps you stable, and to trust that the two can coexist beautifully. There's also a gentle echo in this number that aligns with timeless wisdom, that we are meant to use our gifts, not bury them. And those gifts were never given to be perfect, they were given to be shared. Not everything you create needs to make money, but what you honor within yourself often opens unexpected doors. When you start giving shape to your inspiration, the external world begins to reflect that inner clarity back to you. So if number 32 has found its way to you today, it's not to demand that you change everything, but to remind you that you were never meant to live divided. You are allowed to be both imaginative and organized, both artistic and strategic, both dreamer and doer. And the moment you say yes to that integration, you begin to live the kind of harmony that Libra was born to embody. Not every step forward is meant to feel exciting. Some are meant to feel steady. The presence of number 4 in your field is exactly that kind of step, the one that doesn't rush, doesn't shout, and doesn't sway with every wind. Instead, it stands. It anchors. And for you, Libra, whose path is often marked by the pursuit of harmony and grace, this number brings a deeper message, one of structure, security, and self-trust. After the movement of creative energy and emotional renewal, number 4 calls you back to your core and asks a quiet question: are you ready to make it last? In astrology, number 4 holds resonance with both the grounding influence of Saturn and the nurturing protection of Cancer. Saturn teaches us about discipline, time, and the long game. Cancer reminds us to protect what we love and to build safety within ourselves. When these two energies meet, the message becomes clear: now is the moment to build foundations that support not just your dreams, but your actual daily life. This isn't about restriction. It's about choosing systems that protect your peace, your body, and your resources, especially when chaos or uncertainty arise. There's something profoundly loving about planning ahead, not out of fear, but out of care. You wouldn't let a garden grow wild without tending it. So why let your finances, your health, or your emotional energy go unmanaged? Number 4 is your gentle reminder that stability isn't boring, it's sacred. And sometimes, the greatest gift you can give your future self is preparation. Whether that's creating a financial safety net, establishing a gentle workout routine, or setting clear boundaries in your relationships, this number encourages you to think long-term, not as pressure, but as protection. In terms of health, this number invites you to reconnect with your body's rhythms in a way that's sustainable, not extreme. You don't need a complex plan or a complete overhaul. You just need to commit to the basics. A short daily walk, enough water, a regular bedtime. These are not just acts of self-care. They're declarations that your well-being matters. That your energy deserves consistency. That you don't have to burn out to prove your strength. Remember, even divine wisdom encourages stewardship, not just of your spirit, but of your vessel. And being a good steward of your energy begins with showing up for yourself in small, repeatable ways. On the financial front, number 4 encourages you to face what's often avoided: the practical systems that support your dreams. Do you have a backup plan? Are your financial choices aligned with where you want to go, or where you've been afraid to leave? Now is the time to review your foundation, not because something is about to fall, but because something greater is being asked to rise. Build the container before the blessing arrives. Create space for wealth by becoming the kind of person who knows how to manage it. That's not about control, it's about maturity. There's also a deeper emotional current beneath this number. It asks you to stop reacting and start responding. To stop waiting for the storm before you fortify the structure. There is strength in simplicity, in choosing one solid path and staying with it. And if that feels unfamiliar, remember, you were never meant to navigate everything alone. Even the most balanced hearts need firm ground to stand on. Number 4 is that ground. It reminds you that your softness is safest when supported by structure. Let this be the season where you choose discipline as a form of devotion. Where your routines become sacred rituals, and your boundaries become bridges, not to isolation, but to clarity. You don't have to build it all at once. You only need to begin. Brick by brick, habit by habit, moment by moment, you are becoming the kind of person your future can lean on. And that kind of inner strength? It's not built overnight, but it is built to last. There's something unmistakably tender about the moment light begins to return after a long stretch of silence. Not the harsh kind of light that demands clarity all at once, but the gentle kind that warms your skin before you even open your eyes. That's the energy of number 19. It doesn't rush in to rescue you, it arrives to remind you that the worst is over, and that truth doesn't need to be defended to shine. For Libra, whose path often weaves between diplomacy, compromise, and inner questioning, number 19 serves as both a balm and a revelation. Your quiet endurance has not gone unnoticed. And now, what was once hidden is ready to be illuminated. In numerology, 19 is a powerful fusion of 1, the initiator, the leader, the fresh start, and 9, the closer, the wise finisher, the energy of release. Together, they speak of a sacred shift, an ending that carries within it the seed of something entirely new. But here's what makes it extraordinary: the new beginning doesn't come as a reward for striving harder. It comes when you finally stop carrying the weight of what isn't yours to hold anymore. That includes the burdens you've internalized from others, the guilt that wasn't earned, the need to justify your worth. Number 19 says, you don't have to prove anything anymore. The light speaks for itself. Astrologically, this number aligns with solar energy, life force, joy, visibility. The same warmth the sun gives to the earth without ever asking anything in return. And just like the sun, you're being asked to rise, not to convince, but to exist. To take up space without apology. To return to your natural rhythm after a long period of stretching yourself thin for peace, or approval, or avoidance. For Libra, who often prioritizes others' comfort over personal truth, this moment of energetic restoration can feel both liberating and unfamiliar. But that's the gift of 19. It doesn't ask you to fight, it asks you to stand. From a health perspective, your body may be signaling that it's ready to move from depletion into renewal. Morning fatigue, lack of focus, or emotional fog could all be signs that your inner light has been dimmed by too much suppression. That's not failure, it's a signal. You're not meant to live in burnout. A simple routine like getting early morning sunlight, nourishing your body with whole foods, and reclaiming rest as a non-negotiable can do more for your healing than any extreme reset ever could. Sometimes, the act of stepping into the light is as physical as it is spiritual. Financially, number 19 brings a powerful clearing. If you've been waiting on compensation, acknowledgement, or long-delayed return on energy, this is the season when it can finally come back around. But here's the key: it often requires you to show up in full visibility. To stop hiding your skills, to stop undervaluing your voice, to stop playing small. There's a principle that aligns with divine wisdom, that we are each given gifts, not to hide under layers of fear or overthinking, but to let shine in ways that uplift and bless others. And when you own those gifts, not boastfully but openly, what's meant for you begins to flow in alignment. Not because you chased it, but because you finally stopped running from it. Number 19 isn't just about justice being served, it's about the return of clarity, the return of joy, and the return of you. You don't need to defend the past or argue the future. You only need to walk in the present with honesty. Because when the truth is lived, it doesn't need to be spoken, it radiates. And just like sunlight through a window that was once clouded, your life is about to become a space where light can land again, freely and fully. So let it in. You've already earned it. If you're still with me right now, Libra, then I know you didn't come here just to hear about lucky numbers. You came here because something deeper inside you is stirring, a longing to return to the part of yourself that has always known the truth. The part of you that's tired of trying to keep the peace at the expense of your own voice. The part that knows balance isn't about standing still, it's about learning when to pause, and when to move forward. Today, the universe didn't send you a list of random numbers. It sent you a mirror. Each of these frequencies, from 7 to 19, has been woven into your energy field not to instruct you, but to remind you that your inner wisdom is already intact. That the version of you who lives with clarity, confidence, and grace, she's not far away. She's simply been waiting for you to stop negotiating with doubt and start choosing what resonates. So I want to ask you, what would change if you stopped holding everything together for everyone else, and started building something that's steady for you? What would shift if you no longer asked, is this fair for them, and instead asked, is this true for me? What would your life look like if your sense of balance didn't come from constantly recalibrating to others, but from rooting more deeply into your own truth? You are not here to float in the middle of every conversation, to be the bridge for everyone else's storms. You are here to become the sanctuary, the centered voice, the space where light settles. And sometimes, the only way to find that place again is to slow down, listen inward, and let the noise fall away. Because true harmony isn't about silence, it's about resonance. And resonance happens when your inner world finally lines up with your outer choices. So if one of the 6 numbers from today touched something inside you, even for a second, speak it into the comments. Not for me, but for yourself. Say it out loud. Type it below. Backhand index pointing right, I receive the balance and abundance of number ____ dot. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your way of signaling to the universe that you are not drifting anymore, you're deciding. Not waiting. Not wishing. Deciding. Because the moment you do, the field begins to respond in ways you never expected. I want to thank you, truly, for spending this time with me today. Your presence, your energy, your curiosity, it matters more than you know. Every like, every comment, every share, every new subscriber helps this space grow into what it was always meant to be, a collective of soul-led beings returning to their own center. You are part of this. And I'm so grateful to have you here. So if this message resonated with you, if it unlocked even a single breath of clarity, please consider giving it a like, subscribing to this channel, or sharing it with someone who needs it. Because every time you spread something meaningful, you amplify it, not just for others, but for yourself. And what you give with love always circles back in divine timing. Libra, you were never meant to disappear in the background. You were never meant to become invisible just to keep things pleasant. You came here to bring balance, but not just for others. For yourself. You came here to become the living embodiment of grace under pressure, of peace through clarity, of light with roots. And now that you remember that, everything can begin again.